start, though, with Nathan Buckley, who was left to reflect on what could have been and what's ahead for him after the game tonight.
My initial feeling has been to get to, to get to this point, to take some time for myself and as I said on Wednesday for my boys, I've still got a lot of life to live, and I've still got passions to chase, and Collingwood will always be a passion, and I will always want to see it as an organisation and the people within it prosper, and I'll be supporting from afar. But no, now there's a little bit of open space and a little bit of blue sky, and I think we all want that. It's just a matter of what you fill it with.
I think the blue sky's there for Nathan already. I thought he looked 5 to 10 years younger as he walked off the SCG today. So incredible how often this happens. A coach in his last game, big upset win. You wonder why it happened now. But for someone to go out mid-season, and clearly he was tapped, whether he agreed with it in the end or not, he was tapped on the shoulder to go with 2 wins in a row, Craig. I mean, it's just extraordinary. And I think, honestly, I don't know, I'm sure he's thinking now, do I ever need this pressure again in my life?
It crossed my mind whether they pulled the trigger too early. I know that's an easy knee-jerk reaction.
It was political, wasn't it? It was a board decision to try and win an election.
They've played that way against Port. He took Geelong to 10 points. They've been Sydney. They beat Adelaide last week. Like, their form's pretty good. Yeah,
I think they've done it really well, to be honest. Before we hear from Kane, I think interviewing Graham Wright on 3AW today, he said when he spoke to Nathan Buckley, it was a 3 to 5 year build, they feel, and they didn't want Nathan Buckley. He was honest. He said, we were honest with Nathan that 3 to 5 years, we weren't going to go with Nathan to do the next 3 to 5 years. So I think Nathan seems at peace with it. Collingwood seem at peace with it. And for everything that's going on, I think they've done it pretty well.
Magnificently handled on both ends for a club that hasn't handled things super well.
Nathan's done a great job for them. He has been the class act through all of this. And Graham Wright doesn't seem to have done much wrong either, but I've got my eye on a few others.
He was presented with the turf by the SCG and Tony Shepard, and said for coaching his last game. And seeing that plaque today, it did make me wonder whether it was his last game. Do you think there's another run in him?
What do you think, Kane? What do you think? I think it won't be for at least a couple of years, but do you think he'll ever get back in?
Yeah, I've said all year that I think there'd be 3 or 4 clubs that would reach out. The obvious ones are, for me, if things don't go well at the Giants or at the Gold Coast Suns, 2022 shapes as he would be the ideal recruit for them. Now, you don't like to go early because those teams have coaches, but I saw something today against the best defence in the league, to Hutchie's point, that thinks, maybe it wasn't all doom and gloom. If they had just been able to manufacture some of this all year, and this sort of ball movement, we hadn't seen this. So their defence has been so strong, averaging 77 points against all year, which puts them in the top 8. But from rounds 9 to 12, they averaged 51 points. Because we didn't see this. Players weren't willing to take a risk. They took 18 marks inside 50, up on their average from 9. If they had shown a bit more of that, I reckon Nathan Buckley's still in a job. Yeah,
it's come a little bit too late. Even Scotty Pendlebury admitted that after the game. But I just want to touch on today's game a little bit. And I thought they were really smart. And is there a chink in Melbourne's armour? For the second time in 3 weeks, they've gone in really smart. They've identified what Lever's doing, and they've lowered their eyes to players. There's Lever on Brody Myercheck. So Lever's looking for a point in time where it can drop off. And Collingwood were really measured with the ball, but they went quick at the right time. And you watch Lever, how frustrated. He's asking people, what did we do and why aren't we doing this? But he's got to pick up a man at the right times as well. So I thought they were really, really smart with how they played the Melbourne defence today, Hutchie. They had 25 scoring shots, which hasn't really been seen against Melbourne. And the first time, really, that Melbourne have had to... I mean, half a game last week too, so 6 of the last 8 quarters they've been tested a little differently, and they'll be looking at that coming out of the game.